Drew. We've got some games coming up this weekend, and I cannot wait to watch football this weekend because there are some good games. It's early in the year, so not a lot of great games, but we do have some to pick from this weekend, Drew.
Yeah, we got enough games to pick. I believe we've got 8 on the list here that we're going to pick against the spread. I don't believe that there was any, maybe just one that I could have done without. But, listen, if we got 7 games to talk about, 8 games to talk about, we're not going to complain to anybody. Last week was a good week, but it was a very top-heavy week. Mm-hmm. This week is extremely average week, but the most average of college football weeks is still a pretty great weekend.
It's still a pretty great weekend because it's back like it's supposed to be with college football back in the air. So sorry, my brain lagged there for a second. Back like it's supposed to be. My brain lagged for a second there.
You buffered for a minute.
Yeah. I'm low on charge. I got to charge after this, so don't worry about it. I'm out of my mushroom vitality gummies from Mounts of Hope, so I got to go pick up some this afternoon. But we are picking against the spread from FanDuel.com today. You can go with all your bets. Use those on FanDuel. They've got the FanDuel your way now for NFL games. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. But all of these lines come straight from FanDuel. We'll talk some over-unders as well. First up.
We're bringing back our special guest picker as well.
Yes, we are. ChatGPT joining the show.
Grok is joining
the show. Grok, that's right. Grok is joining the show today. We're going to be picking against him, picking against the FanDuel spread here today. And keeping up with this throughout the year. So we'll do this every Friday heading into the college football weekend. Keeping up with our tallies. The loser will have to do something at the end of the year, sit in a Waffle House for 24 hours or something. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a punishment for the loser of the picks. But Drew, first game on the docket that we are picking, the Michigan Wolverines, led by young quarterback phenom Bryce Underwood, heads to Oklahoma and it faces the fighting Brett Venables. Oklahoma opens as a 4.5-point home favorite. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so this is I've got a list of notes here. I went and just found some trends for both teams. Unfortunately, there's no rhyme or reason in the list of about 40 games that they've done here, and so I'm having to thumb through it. But initially, I talked last week. There is no bigger floor and ceiling possibility than Michigan this year, and it's totally dependent on Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood, the 5-star freshman quarterback that was bought and paid for with the help of, what's his name? Barstool guy.
Dave Portnoy.
Mm-hmm. Dave Portnoy and another investor single-handedly landed Bryce Underwood to Michigan. And listen, he's great. You're thinking Cam Newton when you see the guy. Just body build, length, athleticism, arm strength. Everything's there for Bryce Underwood. He is a freshman, and he's going on the road for the first time to Norman, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, I'm high on. I put them in my grease pole at number 10 because I'm high on John Mateer and the continuity he has with his offensive coordinator. I think their defense was underrated last year, and I think that they are really good this year. So I went OU, Oklahoma, not Oregon. Yeah. I went Oklahoma minus 4.5 against Michigan.
So the over-under is set at 44.5. This is going to be a sloppy, defensive-driven football game. You've got an Alabama transfer in Damon Payne, who's on the defensive line for Michigan now, said that they're lifted. Like they talked about their off-season conditioning program. Their weight program is better than what it was at Alabama. Yet another shot taken at Kalen DeBoer. The line when I set this up yesterday, the line was 4.5. It has shifted. Oklahoma's now a 5.5-point favorite on FanDuel. But when we put these together, we got the odds at 4.5. I think Oklahoma wins, but I think it's a last-second field goal. I think it's an ugly, it's going to be one of those scoregamis. Say it's like 15-15 late in the game. You had a few field goals, and I think Oklahoma gets down. John Mateer leads them down. They kick a field goal. They win like 18-15. I think Oklahoma wins, but I'm taking Michigan to cover the 4.5.
So it's really hard. I've got the notes up here, and this goes back. It's pretty basic kind of trends over the last few games for both teams. As you all know, this is week 2. Both teams are having a new quarterback. Oklahoma has a new offensive coordinator, so all this stuff doesn't necessarily apply. But Michigan is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games. Also 4-1 straight up, and 12-3 straight up in the last 15 games on the road. Those Michigan teams were really good. Conversely, Oklahoma, who struggled and was extremely average last year, 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games, 3-6 straight up in the last 9 games, and 13-2 straight up in the last 15 games at home. So it seems like something's going to have to give here.
Mm-hmm.
You picked Michigan. I picked Oklahoma. Grok picked Michigan.
Did you pick it? Okay. I picked Michigan to cover. I'm not taking them to win outright, but I'm taking them to cover.
Yeah, but we're picking spreads, okay?
Yeah. All right. Second game. I'll take this one first. Arizona State travels from Tempe down to Starkville in a week that Kenny Dillingham has talked about hotel accommodations near small towns. He's talked about food being not so good or not as readily available in small towns. There's been videos of them ringing little small cowbells, little bit cowbells, ding, 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 at practice. You got Jared in the comments saying hammer Arizona State, putting his mortgage on Arizona State. Brother, don't call me when you need a place to live, because I think the defense of Mississippi State is better. Cam Scatabo ain't walking through that door. It's a blackout. It's a night game. It's Davis Wade. It's going to be sticky. It's going to be loud, louder than anything Arizona State's ever faced before.
It's true. Artificial noisemakers.
I think that they get rattled, and I think Mississippi State, I'm taking them to win outright. Give me the dogs winning in Starkville, putting a stamp on this season for our first, probably only, but our first big upset of the season.
Yeah, so listen, it's easy to look at this as a really challenging game. Last year, Arizona State was not predicted to be a college football playoff team, to win the Big 12 and to make the college football playoff. They did, and it started when Mississippi State went to Tempe, and everybody was like, it's really hard to get to Tempe, but State fans were confident. State fans are even more confident. Second year of Jeff Lebby. But Arizona State is coming off of a college football playoff appearance. Should have been a college football playoff win. They got hosed in that first-round game against Texas. And you're right. They lost Cam Scatabo. They still have Sam Levitt, who's really good. Kenny Dillingham is a star, in the coaching profession, a young star. He's got the personality. He's got the swagger. He's the kind of guy that I love. I love showmen. Even at coaches, I love Dion. The problem is you got to back it up. Kenny Dillingham backed it up, so he has my respect. It is going to be challenging, and there's no doubt about it. If I was Mississippi State, I would have lobbied really hard to play this game at 11 o'clock because that would have been a 9 o'clock local tip on the West Coast time that they live on. But instead, they're going to play this at a nice 4:30 local Pacific time kickoff here in Starkville, Mississippi. It is going to be difficult to play underneath those cowbells and stuff, but I've seen it. I do protect Mississippi State to be better. However, I've seen it with Arizona State so far this year. I'm going to go Arizona State and the proven quarterback, a quarterback that led them to the playoff last year and outplayed the quarterback from Texas, Quinn Ewers, last year in the playoff game. So I'm going to go Mississippi State. I'm going to go Arizona State minus 6.5. I wish that number was a little lower, but since you're giving me just under a touchdown, I'll take it.
Arizona State is definitely the more talented team. Bringing back Sam Levitt's huge. They got a preseason All-American in Jordan Tyson who got better as the year went on. He got hurt late, but he had a stretch of like 120, 140, and 176 yards receiving in 3 straight games. Was absolutely crazy down the stretch for Arizona State. They're more talented, but I'm taking the home team. I'm taking the momentum that we have, and I think Mississippi State gets the upset. They did us dirty last year because when we kicked off at 8:30 local time, it was like 10:30 here, so we didn't kick off until past our bedtime. Right? Yeah. They did and our team, like, we weren't kicking off till 10:30 body time for them to get a late start. But I think
big body clock game.
Big body clock game. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a lot of people like to talk about the body clock. I did bring it up because I don't really think it affects Arizona State this time. These teams are filled with 18 to 23-year-old kids. Who stay up all hours of the night, and they get there like 3 days early. I don't really buy a body clock typically, but it is interesting when it seems weird. This doesn't seem weird, for a body clock game.
Next
Brock
up
has Mississippi State covering the spread.
How about that?
So I'm alone. It's Rusty and Grok versus Drew.
Apparently, Grok knows ball is all I'm going to say. So next up, we've got a big rivalry game early in the year. Iowa traveling to Ames and playing Iowa State. Iowa State is a 3.5-point home favorite, which we all know in the betting world is basically a pick 'em. Drew, do you think Iowa or Iowa State is going to win the rivalry game?
Yeah, so you used to, and I'm pretty sure this is correct still, get about 3 points if you're the home team. So a half-point margin, basically a pick 'em is what Rusty's referring to there, if it were played on a neutral site. Listen, this game is weird. A lot like the Egg Bowl, it seems that the team that is favored every year loses. So I'm going to follow that trend. I'm going to pick Iowa and the Hawkeyes to go into Ames and knock off Iowa State. Iowa State, one of, I guess, the only team in college football that in the Power 5 anyways, that is already 2-0.
Yeah, that's true because they played early in week 0 in Dublin, beating conference.
Is that your Irish accent?
It's close enough.
Dublin.
Dublin. All right, so Iowa State has a 9-22 all-time home record against Iowa. Iowa State is 3-7 in the last 10 against Iowa. They won last year at Iowa. The game comes to Iowa State. I think this year the home team gets a win. Give me the Iowa State Cyclones. I picked Iowa State. They're 2-0. They got some momentum. I think they can continue that into maybe a push for a conference championship appearance. And I think that continues this weekend. Give me the Cyclones to cover and beat Iowa.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk before the season. You know, last year was the last season of Kirk Ferentz's son as the offensive coordinator. And they went and hired Tim Lester, who Memphis fans know. He played for the Showboats, I believe. But he was a head coach at, I believe, Western Michigan. He's known as an offensive guy. And so is it possible that Iowa finally leaves the Stone Ages when it comes to offensive football? Maybe. Haven't seen it. I love Rocco Becht. Rocco Becht is a multi-year starter at Iowa State.
Yep.
Iowa State should be the favorite. But the problem is the favorite doesn't win. And I'm just going to pick Iowa. I'm going to pick the upset here.
There you go. I mean, listen, it holds true. The Iowa State is 9-22 all time against Iowa at home, so it holds pretty true. So, what does Grock think?
Grock has Iowa. Me and Grock are together on this one.
First time you and Grock have been together. Next up, for friend of the show, Lauren Massey, we've got the Illinois Fighting Illini traveling to Raleigh to face the Duke Blue Devils. Illinois opens as a 3.5-point road favorite. Coming off a 10-3 season last year, Illinois was good. They upset South Carolina in the bowl game. They returned a lot offensively, especially defensively. They're currently sitting at the top 11. I think they're 11th in the latest AP poll. They've got 16 returning starters out of their 22 starters. I think that experience, I believe Luke Altmaier is back again, former Ole Miss Rebel, had 2,700 yards passing and 22 touchdowns last year. Experience under center. Duke is still trying to figure it out in the post-Mike Elko era. Give me the Illini on the road covering.
Yeah, that's the cute pick. That's for sure. But you're not paying enough attention to. You're not giving Duke the respect they deserve.
I think it's Duke.
Duke had a 9-win season last year. Mm-hmm. They did lose their quarterback after the year. Manny Diaz does a good job, but what they went and did is they got arguably the most expensive transfer quarterback there was. True. With Darian Mensah from Tulane. Led Tulane to an incredible season. They paid Darian Mensah a 2-year, $8 million contract to come play quarterback for the Blue Devils. They're playing them in Raleigh-Durham. I'm on the Duke Blue Devils to upset.
All right, there we go. So this is going to be a good cutting the chaff week for us because it's going to go one way or the other. That's for sure.
You know, if we do one thing well, it's cutting the chaff. Grock has Illinois winning this game. So Illinois, the 3.5-point favorite. And listen, Lauren Massey probably not listening to this, but if he does, bring it on, brother. I'm not scared.
Next up, Drew, it's your turn. Ole Miss opens the 10.5-point road favorite at Kroger Field facing Kentucky. Drew, do we need to be worried about a repeat from last year? Update, the line when I took this yesterday was 10.5. It is now 8.5 in favor of Ole Miss still. It has dropped a little bit. Over-under set at 50.5 on FanDuel.com.
Yeah, so basically, if yesterday you thought you were going to take the Rebels, you need to double down today because you're getting 2 more points. listen, lines aside, I think this is a perfect game for Ole Miss to play right now. I don't think that their offense is going to score a lot of points. They are starting Zach Calzada at quarterback. Zach Calzada is 1-8, I think, as a starting quarterback in the SEC, and this is his third SEC school that he's started at quarterback for.
Yeah.
I have zero confidence that Zach Calzada is going to be anything other than below average all year long. So that means that I'm not necessarily in fear of this game losing. Now, we're talking spreads here. But before the spreads, I'm not in fear of Ole Miss losing this game. However, I believe that Mark Stoops is one of the best coaches in the SEC. He just happens to be stuck at the only school in the SEC that considers basketball its number one sport and considers football secondary. And it's not even a close second. So the resources aren't there, and despite that, and despite the low expectations, he stays there and he has a competitive team every single year. He's a really good defensive coach. He's going to throw a lot of stuff at Austin Simmons. I hope he throws the absolute kitchen sink at Austin Simmons. I hope he sees everything that he could possibly see in an SEC football game tomorrow in Lexington, Kentucky, because I don't think that Kentucky can score enough. So, with that being said, the number's pretty big at 10.5. I'm an Ole Miss fan. I've actually wrote down Kentucky, but I scratched it out and let my homer and my red and blue glasses, I put them back on. I said, there's no way I can pick against them in this game. Kentucky is Kentucky, and the thing that really took me over the edge is the fact that Kentucky beat Ole Miss last year. There is a revenge factor. Kentucky snuck into Oxford, Mississippi in week number 5 last year. Nobody took them seriously, and that's why Ole Miss lost. That will not happen this year. I think Ole Miss wins. I think Ole Miss wins by at least 2 scores. I think the under is absolutely in play. But yeah, I think Ole Miss at 10.5, which is where we've got our line is. I'll take the Rebels. And Gronk agrees.
Yeah. I don't think Kentucky has the firepower. I think that this is the kind of game that Lane Kiffin likes to flex in. Yes, Kentucky always has a formidable defensive lineman, a linebacker, safety that's usually pretty good. Mark Stoops has him in great positions. He usually has a good scheme drawn up, but I don't think it matters tomorrow. I think this is a revenge game for Joey Freshwater. I think this is an opportunity to flex on an SEC team to get your first SEC win and a momentum builder over the course of the next 3 weeks when you got Tulane, Georgia, and LSU.
It is Arkansas, Tulane, LSU.
Arkansas, Tulane, LSU on the horizon. Like, there's some big games coming. This feels like a game where Lane Kiffin kind of knocks some cobwebs off. It's probably going to be ugly early, and I think Ole Miss's talent leans in the second half, and I think they cover pretty easily, winning by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I do too, and that has a lot more to do with their starting Zach Calzone, as Jared says in the comments.
Exactly.
Zach Calzone, who should work at Olive Garden.
Yes, he's missing it's a calzone, as Ben Wyatt once said famously. But I think Ole Miss wins handily, pulling away in the second half. Next up, we've got a great rivalry game that's coming back. Border war. You got Kansas going to Missouri. This is an old Big 12. This is an old rivalry. We've been playing for a long time.
Maybe Big 8.
I think it's the Big 8, like before that. I'm big rivalry game. Kansas comes to Missouri. I'm taking Missouri. I think they cover. I think Missouri's going to be sneaky good once again. They're really high on their quarterback that they got this year. It's at Columbia. Yeah, thank you, Pribula. It's in Columbia, which is just a kooky place to go play. It's just a weird things happen in Columbia for Missouri. And Missouri, you're going to look up at the end of the year, Drew, and Missouri's going to have 10 wins. And they're just going to be what happened this year? Why is Missouri so good? And I think it starts here. I like Kansas. I like their quarterback. He's dynamic, but he's never been able to truly win the big game. This is a big game early in the year for them. Give me the Tigers to cover at home.
Yeah, so I went back and forth on this a lot, honestly. Jalen Daniels is a really good quarterback for Kansas. And when he's healthy, they're really good. He missed all of last season. They were bad. Year before that, he played almost all the season. and they were really good. They were competing for the Big 12 championship, or for an opportunity to be in the Big 12 championship late in that season. So I am high. You know, I like Lance Leopold, their head coach. I've been really high on Kansas. I've also been really high on Bo Pribula. I'm high on Eli Drinkwitz. I think what they're doing at Missouri is really good. What I really hope comes out of this is an absolutely epic match, vitriol flowing everywhere, and that Greg Sankey watches it and it says, Kansas, come home.
Go get them.
No, go get Kansas.
Yeah.
Missouri needs this. As a member of the SEC, they have. I talked about it with the Power Mizzou reporter we had preseason. Kansas has no real rival in this SEC, and rivalries are what is missing in college football with all the conference realignment. You're missing out on the what's the Oklahoma State?
Bedlam.
Yeah. You're missing out on all these with all the realignment. And so I hope this is vitriolic. I hope there's a lot of action, a lot of angst. I know the Missouri fans are pumped for it. The Kansas fans are pumped to finally face each other again. And I hope that Greg Sankey looks at it and was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Kansas come to the SEC and NC State come to the SEC. And then we may even talk for 19 and 20, Duke and Carolina.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think Kansas could be a big ad for the SEC. Like you said, brings a good rivalry game for Missouri. It'd be a ton of fun. This is a 2:30 kick tomorrow. FanDuel has the over-under set at 50.5. I'm absolutely just stoked to watch this game. This will be one that I definitely have on TV tomorrow. What does Grok say?
I didn't even make my pick. I picked Missouri.
Yeah.
And Grok picks Kansas.
Okay. All right, next up, we've got Vanderbilt traveling to Virginia Tech in a true pick'em. It's a 1.5-point favorite for Virginia Tech when I looked at it yesterday. Let me see. I don't know if that line has moved today at all, but I'll find it here in just a second. I'm taking Vanderbilt here. I think Vandy and the fighting Diego Pavias are going to have another year where they win 5, maybe 6 games and they go bowling. I just, as long as Diego Pavia and Clark Lee are together, this is a hard team to truly bet against because they're going to win games they're not supposed to. Virginia Tech, it's now a 2.5-point line for Virginia Tech. It has moved a little bit. Over-under is set at 47.5, so not expecting a ton of points on FanDuel.com. But I'm going to take the Commodores until proven otherwise. I like the combination of Clark Lee and Diego Pavia, and I just want to root for him. So I'm taking Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm taking Vandy as well. There wasn't a lot to be inspired by when watching that Virginia Tech South Carolina game last week.
They basically play baseball in the first half.
Yeah, Vandy beat Virginia Tech last year. Another year, Diego Pavia in his 9th year of college eligibility. I'm going to take the Doors here, and Grok takes the Hokies.
Ooh.
So,
last game of our pick'ems before we talk a little NFL fantasy wide receiver. We've got the Nico Amalavea-led UCLA Bruins heading to Las Vegas. Listen, you listen to 7 different people. There's 7 different people will pronounce it 7 different ways. Nico and UCLA are traveling to Las Vegas to face the Fighting Dan Mullins, the UNLV runner-ups. UCLA opens as a 2.5-point road favorite. Drew, who you got in Las Vegas?
Yeah, so this is really weird. I've never seen a game that has as many acronyms. There's 8 letters between these two teams. The University of California in Los Angeles and the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. It's a mouthful. I'm glad that we shortened them up. So, listen, Nico's playing for pride here. That was a pretty ugly showing against Utah. However, I could be convinced that Utah is just that freaking good. Kyle Whittingham finally got your boy out of there after his 7th year of eligibility.
Cam Rising has been there forever. Yeah.
And so I can totally buy that Utah is really good. The problem I have of just picking UCLA blindly is that the head coach of UNLV is Dan Mullen. And if there's one coach in college football that always knows the line, it's Dan Mullen. They're playing it in Las Vegas. Do they have their own stadium, right? They're not playing this in Allegiant,
in the
right?
Sphere. They have their own stadium.
I knew they weren't playing in the Sphere, but that would be awesome.
That's what I meant, really Allegiant, cool. Not the Sphere. That would be cool.
Yeah, maybe arena football in the Sphere.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take UCLA -2.5. Grok took UCLA as well.
Well, I am going to be the odd man out here. I'm taking the fight in Dan Mullins because weird things happen when Dan Mullen coaches. He's coaching a random UNLV team. FanDuel has the over-under set at 55 and a half, and this could be achieved by the end of the third quarter because like neither team play great defense. It's gonna be a lot of points scored. A couple other fun bets. You can get 4+ touchdowns to be scored in each half for plus 260. That's a hell of a line. Plus 260 for 8 touchdowns to be scored. 4 touchdowns in each half. 1+ receiving touchdown to be scored in each quarter is only plus 500. Like I feel like that should be a lot higher than plus 500. It's better. You can get UNLV to not score a touchdown for plus 2,000. So there's a lot of points that are probably going to be scored here. And kooky things happen when Dan Mullen is running the score up. Give me UNLV and the Runner Rebs to win at home.